Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of Game of Thrones. This week we've seen episode 5 of season 7, which was called Eastwatch. And I apologize for the lighting. I know it's dark, you can't see the background, but I think it fits, with the Night King approaching and stuff like that, right? Or more like I didn't feel like getting up and turning on the light, I guess. um, But anyway, I really liked last week's episode along with almost everyone else in the world. Um, just that battle is again among the best we've seen on Game of Thrones. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite personally, but it's definitely really well done. Um, and we followed that up in this episode in a really potent way or opponent. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but it was just really effective with Tyrion, walking around and just walking through the ashes and the wreckage of the bodies, everything like that. Because Tyrion, he isn't, he's not an idiot. He's I still say he's probably the smartest, or at least one of the very smartest, most brilliant characters on the show. He knows what war brings. He knows the cost. He knows, just everything. He drinks and he knows things, right? Um, but he still has a conscience. So when he walks around, I think that's what's hitting him there. Just seeing all this and fearing, or maybe kind of becoming more paranoid about what Daenerys could potentially become. Um, so I thought that was all really well done, and I loved the meeting between Tyrion and Jaime a little bit later. I actually didn't expect to see that this soon. So when Davos helped Tyrion get smuggled into King's Landing, I was pretty excited. Um, because they plan on making a proposal to Cersei, or at least trying to show her what's actually coming towards the wall and everything like that, which is where we see our group go at the end of the episode. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Um, just tremendous acting between Peter Dinklage and Nikolaj Waldau. I probably just butchered Jamie Lannister's name, but just a very well acted scene, and it had everything. It felt really real. Jamie Broad probably said he was gonna cut Tyrion in half. The next time we seen him over what he did to their father, Tywin. Um, back at the end of season 4. And that season 4 finale, by the way, it's still might be my favorite episode of the show, or at least my favorite moment. Where Tyrion had to do that. I just thought that was a great, full circle and great, very pivotal character moment. But anyway, I did like Jaime telling Cersei that it wasn't Tyrion who had poisoned Joffrey, telling her it was Elena and everything like that. Um, of course, Cersei was actually aware of Tyrion and Jaime's meeting here, and that was Braun that set it up. Um, so I'm surprised she didn't, take more action to, stop it or to get to Tyrion or something. So maybe there's a possibility for, less carnage. I don't know. We'll talk more about Cersei in a minute here. Back to the Tyrion and Jaime scene. Just very complex, very layered, but they still very much care about each other. And again, just excellent acting. Peter Dinklage, you could see the pain when he was, bringing up, his reasoning for killing Tywin again. And you can just see that there's this great bond between the two. Yeah, it's so shaken, and they're both so consumed with talking to each other again with everything that's happened. Just really fantastic and well done. And as much as I loved last week's episode, I think this episode might have been even better. Yeah, I didn't have like a big battle sequence or anything, but the character points just hit arguably even more in this episode for me. And then with Cersei, she's pregnant, and I actually went aw, because I like Cersei. I think she's amazing. Lena Headey does a great job. Of course, she's one of the greatest villains of the show. But also there have been times when I've rooted for her, like against the High Sparrow last season and everything like that. Um, and she wants to play it a really smart way against the King of the North and Daenerys, with their proposal, like their father would have, basically just wait for the right opportunity and play it smart, basically. So she'll hear this out, but she'll stab him in the back when the time is right. to be able to take the throne and carry the house name. Or keep the throne and take the house name. Whatever. You know what I mean. But she reveals that she's pregnant, and I thought that was actually a really sweet moment where they, talked about it being Jaime's and everything, how they decided not to care what the sheep think, as Tywin used to say, even though I just butchered it. But then Cersei tells Jaime not to betray her again. Okay. That was like, that's, okay. It was kind of like that. And even Jaime sort of, seemed a little startled by that, or a little bit shaken by that, maybe. So is Jaime still going to have to become the Queen Slayer, potentially? I don't know. It's going to take some kind of action like what the Mad King did to push Jaime to actually kill Cersei like that, I think. Or some people even think that Jaime will die and then Arya will take his face to kill Cersei or something. I don't know. But either way, it's they're not going in like the very predictable route with Cersei right now. She's not just like this evil, mad tyrant fighting over and over and over. She's brilliant, she's smart. But at the same time, you still get these little touches of, liking her, I guess. I don't know. I did like Daenerys a little bit more this week with, her telling the Tyrells and the remaining forces that they had that she's not here to murder them, but, bend the knee or die. Again, with that bend the knee shit. She's been very frustrating this season for me. And again, it's kind of one of those debatable scenarios. Should she have done it? Did she have to go that far by burning, Dickon and, of course, the father? Dickon, of course, is played by the guy who played Billy Bones in Black Sails, another really good show, but not nearly the audience that Game of Thrones has. But I just ended. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But anyway, I still thought it was a good scene. And then how could I almost forget, Jon and Drogon's moment. Jon actually reaching out to touch him and actually, petting his snout, basically. Drogon seemed to actually, take him in a way, or at least accept him. So hinting of Jon's true family ties. So that's pretty good as well. And Dany even seemed to sort of give it a second look, and to probably start to wonder about it herself. So I thought that was very good as well. And the scenes between Daenerys and Jon are just getting better and better. Just Emilia Clarke is doing a good job with the way she's looking at him now. She can tell she's starting to care. She's grown used to him, as she said. But I think it's more than that. Even Tyrion is giving the two of them looks. He's starting to sense more of a connection between them. Even though they're probably related, I'm starting to sense the chemistry that everyone's wanting to be there. So that's good either way, I guess. And it's Game of Thrones. You have Jaime and Cersei, so we'll see what happens here. And then, of course, before we get into the final part of the show, Arya is seen with Sansa, her sort of delving into what Sansa is really thinking in her mind, with aspiring to be queen, and part of her actually hoping Jon doesn't make it back or something happens to him so she can take over. And I didn't expect Arya to confront her like that, but it is true, Sansa was shaken, by Arya talking about it. So it obviously is true, and Arya trying to look into Littlefinger. I'm not sure how that's going to go. It seems like Arya would have seen him watching her, after she exited his room. But, I don't think Arya's going to die or anything. I think a lot of people are predicting Littlefinger to be killed, and I think that might happen. But either way, it's making Sansa seem a little more sketchy, I don't think she's going to betray Arya or try to kill her or anything, but I think what Arya said is probably right, in a part of her head anyway. And then the Hound and the Brotherhood without banners showing up on the wall, as well as Gendry. Sorry if I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but he's a character we haven't seen in quite a few seasons. Some people probably even forgot about him. He's not rowing anymore, so there's that. But it was nice for him to pop up. I'm glad they didn't just forget about that. They probably wouldn't have, but still good to see him. He's pretty awesome with that hammer. I thought it was kind of fun, with their exit, with the guards, confronting them, and how Davos maneuvered out of that. But then he just ends up taking the hammer to their faces. I think that looked pretty good. And then the Hound, of course, and the Brother Without Banners showing up, and then deciding to march out there with Jon, and as well as Jorah. It's good to see Jorah and Dany reunite again. So it's going to be a pretty exciting episode next week. Them heading out into the cold like that to try and get basically get an example for Cersei of what's out there. So yeah, just another fantastic episode. Again, like I said, no big battle sequence, but the character dynamics just hit on all fronts in this one. I read last week's episode a 9.8 out of 10, so I'm going to have to give this one at least a 9.9. I could probably rate it a 10 out of 10, at least critically, but I try to save my 10 out of 10 ratings for, like, the biggest, most emotional episodes ever, so that's the only reason why it's not. But pretty much a perfect episode. I loved it. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.